btmreview.com here with a fun episode. We started doing these last week. I think they're kind of fun to mix it up, sort of opinionated episodes. And by all means, any feedback we get and recommendations of topics to discuss like this, feel free to hit us up on all the interweb pages that I'll surely mention at the end of this episode. But I'm Aaron, and this is Zach.
What's up, guys?
Today we're going to talk about our favorite licensed games. Now, the thing is those are mostly shit, and we're not saying anything that hasn't been said. Movie licensed games are usually shit. They're usually garbage, and they're usually a quick cash in to contribute to the film's marketing. Duh, right? And usually they're really kick-ass movies, too. It's just horrible games. But you know what? And some of these games that we talk about, they're not necessarily good, like awesome games, but maybe we have fond memories of them, or maybe we think they have some redeeming quality about them. So it's a pretty fun topic because they're kind of a rare breed. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not going to mention the obvious one. Everybody talks about Spider-Man 2 from the movie.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about how great a game that is, and that's like the one exception. I'm not going to talk about that one because, I mean, yeah,
that game's great because it has Bruce Campbell doing the tutorial.
Yeah, it's fun, but I don't want to talk about it because everybody talks about it. But we can just, I guess we'll just go back and forth. I think we have a couple apiece in mind. I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to say, and this game's great, Batman Returns on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's Batman Returns on the Genesis. It's on the Sega CD. It was all over the place. But this was back in the glory days where every system had a different iteration of the game. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. Same game, same name, different game type of thing. But anyway, the one on the Super Nintendo is a beat 'em up. And not only is it a good game, it is the second best beat 'em up of all time. The first one is Turtles in Time.
Yeah, and that's one you can put on there too. It's a tie-in. Well, it's a TV show.
Yeah. Now, yeah, it's a comic book if you want to get more. That's such a big franchise, big thing. It started out as a comic book, went to TV show, went to film. I wouldn't count that personally because I want to do film stuff. Yeah, because franchise games.
Okay, because I had DuckTales on mine.
Well, I think films is a funner topic to narrow it down to because if we just did licensed, I mean, almost so many things have licenses, but films in general, man, because they're all just for the sake of marketing. They're like fucking action figures, or it's the same thing back when Batman Forever was out and they put all the characters on different Kellogg's cereal boxes. I fell for it. I had to have the fucking Apple Jacks with the Riddler on it. I had to have the Corn Pops with Two-Face on it. But anyway, so Batman Returns, it is the second greatest beat 'em up. Next to Turtles in Time. And you know what? People might be screaming sacrilege because I know there's all kinds of games like, the fucking Final Fights and your Double Dragons and your fucking Battle or whatever. This game is awesome. The graphics were great. The music was great. And not to mention, it was just one of the most faithful adaptations to the film. It really did serve the film. It did the job, and it actually made a good game out of it because you went along with the story of the film. There was cutscenes that were like stills from the movie, which were pretty cool back for the day. And you went in sequence. You went by scene. Like the first level is the whole Red Triangle Circus Gang fucking attacking the lighting of the Christmas tree. It's that stage, and then you progress, and then you go to the whole rooftop with Catwoman, and then and it all climaxes at the end with Penguin on the fucking duck at the zoo. It's just, it actually does what a licensed game should do. It promotes the movie, it coincides with the film, but it's actually a good fucking game. I mean, it's really good. Did you play it?
Yeah.
Isn't it good, or am I just talking shit? Oh, I love it.
It's one of the best Batman games.
It's I know a lot of people love Batman on the NES from the original movie.
Yeah.
They just got real lucky with their adaptations up until Batman Forever. That's a shitty game.
Yeah, it just looks like Mortal Kombat.
Batman and Robin is shitty. So pretty much the first Batman and Batman Returns, those games were great. You know what? The Batman Returns on the Sega CD was fun, and the Genesis. Those were actually cool too. But the Super Nintendo one's the one that shines for me. We're not even going to speak about fucking Batman Forever. That game had the most fucked up controllers, the most fucked up look. Yeah. It didn't even have music. It had really weird sound effects. The music was shitty. You were fighting people that jumped right off a golf course. Like they were like golf clothes.
Yeah, you know what's funny too is I never like got past the first screen on that game.
Oh, it's so hard
because you go all the way to the right of the screen and then you're just boxed in and don't know what to do.
You don't know how to do because you have to find out that you have to shoot up your little
your little
batarang thing, and it's weird. It's got a weird button combination. It's so unnatural. And how
it's like down.
And how are you supposed to fucking know that that's what you're gonna do? It's so.
And not only that, it's so touchy about where you're standing when you shoot the bat thing up. So you got to be standing in the perfect pixel on the perfect, like on the floor for it to work right.
It's just, it's an absolute headache. And it's one of those games where they added like a versus mode where you can like a fighting game. But it was like we didn't like redo the mechanics to make it more fighting game. No, we're just taking the same fucking sprites from the shitty game and we're going to pin you in one screen.
And that makes sense that they would do that since it was a complete rip-off of Mortal Kombat, like the digitized actors and everything.
Horrible sound bites. They're all fuzzy.
I always love that game, like old school games.
I got it for my fucking birthday, man, one year.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was just a kid that loved Batman. I'm like, oh, sweet. Back in the day, we didn't see licensed games as a bad thing.
Yeah.
We loved the movie, and it's like, oh man, wow, True Lies game, sweet.
And it didn't even matter if it wasn't anything like the movie.
No,
it was just
back in the day.
Just the fact that it had that name on it.
Yeah, it's just kind of hindsight. Spoiler alert, the True Lies game fucking blows. But anyway, that was my first pick. What's your pick for a good film adapted game? It doesn't have to be great, remember, I mean, whatever. Just something that you think has redeeming quality that you have a fondness for.
Okay. Did you ever play the Rockstar Warriors game?
I did not.
Okay. Well, it was on the PlayStation 2, and it was basically they did like a cool thing where it basically started off a couple days before the movie takes place, and you're training. You play as Rembrandt or whatever his name is, like the sweet fro dude, and like. They actually ported it over to PSP and stuff, so you can get it really easy if you want to play it to this day.
Is it actually tell the story of the movie, or is it like just a game based on it, or is it you go into the film?
It starts out before the movie, and then about 40 or about 60% of the way through the game, you start playing the movie, and you go to the end of the movie and stuff. So it kind of gives you, it's kind of like a prequel. They got all the original actors, if I remember right. It was really cool.
No, I never played that one. I remember the PS2 though. I mean, that was kind of this era where they were doing movie games like The Warriors and The Godfather and Scarface. And
yeah, I was going to say Godfather
that
too.
Was somewhat popular for a couple of years there. Another one that I think it's not a great game, but it's not without its merits. And that is, keep in mind, I'm talking about the Super Nintendo and the Genesis versions, not the shitty 3DO version. Does anybody got it? Did I give you a big enough hint? Zach, do you know what I'm talking about? It had a Genesis version, it had a Super Nintendo version, and also had a 3DO version.
It's not coming to mind.
Demolition Man.
Oh.
Okay, the Demolition Man one was shit on 3DO because it was because Stallone actually did the game. He did the because it looked like it was full motion video.
Nice.
Stallone.
I never played it. I never got to check it out.
Stallone, right after he filmed the movie, or I think I read maybe it was actually during the movie when they're actually filming the movie. He took time out to film these green screen fucking scenes for the game, talking to the viewer. Anyway, it's a big pile of shit. But the 16-bit console versions, like I said, it might get a little repetitive, but the controller's fun. The animations are cool, and it's got some sweet ass voice bits. Like in the first level, it takes place in the future before you get sent back and past, or sorry, it takes place in the present before you get frozen in ice and woken up in the future. And you're going after Simon Phoenix, aka Wesley Snipes. And I love it when you reach him at the end of the level. He taunts you like classic 16-bit style, where the enemy would taunt you before the battle began, and he goes, "Is that you, John Spartan?" Just from the fucking movie, dude. It's awesome. So the game was fun to play, and it's got some pretty fun mechanics, like hanging on a rope and fucking shooting. And I remember that you can actually aim your machine gun like up, down, diagonal. So it was actually pretty cool. And so I thought that one was kind of fun. Perfect, no. But when you consider all these action movie licensed games, most of them really, really suck. I mean, we obviously talked about the Terminator games last week. But, I mean, so you have like the Sega CD Terminator game. and Demolition Man's pretty okay. But yeah, I mean, and actually the Judge Dredd game isn't great, and I wouldn't even say it's really good. I would say it's just kind of, but I wouldn't say it's absolutely horrible either. It's just repetitive. But anyway, it's a fun game, whatever.
But the $1 million question is, on the Demolition Man game, did they ever explain how the 3 seashells work?
Don't think so. I want to say
he should have been like, he doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
The horizontal mamba, the hunka chunka. But anyway, I kind of have this weird fondness for it because, like I said, it might get old after a few levels, but at least it's kind of entertaining for like 15 minutes. Most games aren't even like that. And of course, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of games that are coming to me right now, and I know it's going to be that way, but I'm only just going to stick to a couple here. And actually, to be honest with you, there's actually a lot there that I want to say, but there's one more that I'll say here in a minute after you select something here. To me, it's my granddaddy. But what is your next one?
I was going to say The Godfather, like you said earlier.
Oh, spoiler, sorry.
Yeah, that was one I liked a lot. And like you mentioned the Scarface one. That was one I wanted to play. I played it a little bit when it came out. I bought it like used, and the disc doesn't work, so I gotta like rebuy it if I want to play that one.
So what was so cool about The Godfather?
It was like, I was just playing through the movie again. Like it's like whenever you find one that I actually think I didn't see The Godfather before I played the game, so playing through the game and seeing all the stuff that happens in the movie was even better than it would have been if I saw the movie first and knew what was going to happen.
It's funny because like The Godfather is totally like a type of game that you wouldn't think, at least like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you wouldn't have 20 years ago, the 16-bit era, you would have never made a game off The Godfather. You only did it off like action games, comic-y stuff like that. So I don't know what that, I guess games have got more cinematic and people have really embrace the whole fucking touch and click, choose your destiny games, which I don't understand these games like L.A. Noire, and they're not fun.
Oh, I love that game.
Did you really? Okay.
Yeah.
But so does this mean that like in 20 years we're going to finally get that Passion of the Christ game?
That'd be pretty crazy.
It's a martyr simulator.
And you play as a Mel Gibson.
Or Mel Gibson, as the director? You're fucking directing it? He'll be an unlockable character, and then they're gonna release DLC skins to give him the rig skin from Lethal Weapon 2, and he's gonna have the mullet and the plaid shirt and the tight jeans. Can you imagine that, buying the Lethal Weapon 2 classic skin pack?
That'd be awesome.
From Mel Gibson in the Passion of the Christ video game. God, there we go again. Almost every big 80s and 90s movie had him there. The Lethal Weapon game. Fuck that game too. That game sucked. There's just so many bad ones, but I'll tell you my granddaddy. And the thing is this game is not perfect by any stretch, and I know for a fact that I don't think a lot of people hold it in high regard. But I love it because I love the franchise. I love the series it came from. And the thing is the game itself is very repetitive. It's like every level is the same sort of mission. Mm-hmm. And every boss is the exact same boss. They might have like different patterns and stuff, but it's like the same fucking sprite. So it's not like, you kind of wish they would have like used this opportunity to give us a whole badass new boss at the end of it. But I'm talking about the Alien 3 video game.
Okay.
That was on NES, that was on Super Nintendo, and that was on Genesis. Now, this is sort of an exception to all these other types of games of the era, whereas these games were all kind of similar on the same on all the platforms. And for some reason, don't ask me why, I grew up with the Genesis version, so I love the Genesis version. But basically, did you ever play it? Okay, the basic gist of the whole thing is every level you have so many prisoners that you have to rescue. They're all cocooned to the walls, right? Yeah. And so you have to find them. All the levels are like big mazes, and there's aliens all over the place. You got to kill them along the way. And basically, you just got to reach the exit, but you have to rescue all the prisoners before you reach the exit. That's it. And kill aliens along the way. So, and every single level is like that. So it gets, so the whole notion of it's repetitive, but it's so much fun blasting fucking aliens with your machine guns. You get a rocket, you get a grenade launcher, you get a machine gun, you get all these cool toys, and it's so much fun blasting them. And it's already taken liberties from the movie, because the movie, they didn't have firearms, you remember?
Yeah.
They were on a prison colony, so they had to sit there and make homemade weapons, kind of like the first movie, you know, like little homemade gas torches and fire sticks and shit like that. So in the game, we can't do that in a video game for kids. No, we can't do that. We're going to give her machine guns and grenade launchers. But it's fun. Yeah. So it's kind of like that whole, like, I don't want to sit there and put it up against like Metroid because that's sacrilege. I get it. But it's kind of like Metroid where the stages were a big maze. There was an end, but it's kind of a maze, and you got to find all the creatures and kill face huggers and aliens. And it was just very simple and fun. And every boss was the exact same model of like kind of like a bull alien. Yeah. And that's the only thing that kind of sucks, because that's a missed opportunity to create like a crazy new design of an alien for every like boss. Because if you remember when Aliens, the second movie, came out, are you familiar with the toy line that came out to market that?
Yeah, I remember.
And they made up all these crazy ass fucking aliens that didn't exist. Aqua alien, it's like fucking blue and purple. A dog alien, it's like yellow and green. It's on all fours. It's like, what the fuck is this? Just to sell toys. I have Alien Resurrection action figures, these 12-inch action figures that are like crazy. These weren't in the fucking movie at all, but they're neat. So it's like, why couldn't they have done that with the bosses? That would have broken up the monotony just a little bit. And it really never goes anywhere. I mean, that's just kind of the gist of it, but it's so much fun, and I love it. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's really gratifying.
Yeah. So I should check it out then.
That's my favorite.
You mentioned, just real quick, you mentioned that it was like Metroid. Actually, Metroid was actually inspired by the movie Alien.
Yeah, it was. That's funny, full circle.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's 100% like it, but it just kind of reminds me, because you have a level and a giant stage, you got to find the exit, and you got to rescue all the things. I mean, it's not like it's not like Metroidvania or like Super Metroid tour, because every level does end, but you know what I'm saying. And you know, there's the occasional, if I want to remember correctly here, countdown, like a la Resident Evil, like you got to do it and the fucking clock's running out, type of thing. So it does action really well. It's like you got a clock running down. You got to rescue these fucking things and make it out the door before the clock runs out and the place blows up. All the while, aliens are fucking trying to stop you, and you got to blow them away. It keeps you engaged, even if it's kind of repetitive, you know? It's just like...
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, but that's kind of my granddaddy, just because I
was figuring your granddaddy was going to be GoldenEye, since you had a Nintendo 64 growing up. That's what everybody says.
Here's a fun fact. I've never once played GoldenEye.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I had friends that were playing it like nuts, and I would watch, but I mean, even back then, I wasn't into FPS. So, yeah, that's another one. That's a lot of people are going to call that one the granddaddy.
I remember there was animations for every time you shot somebody somewhere, like if it was in the leg or something, they had different animations, and it's funny how like that was so much, you know, more innovative than Call of Duty now, where it doesn't matter where you shoot them, they just fall down the same way.
Yeah. That was my granddaddy, but I'll give an honorable mention. I mean, this one does get a little bit of credit, but the X-Men Origins Wolverine game.
Yep.
And that one's unique because the movie was actually shit and the game's better than the movie. That's the unique case, because usually the movies always kick ass and the games are shit. But the thing is the game's not like perfect, but it's a God of War clone. 100%. Oh, yeah. But it's fun, man. It's God of War, so you gain experience points, you kill all these baddies, and then you develop new little like claw attacks and like skills and move sets along the way. But it's so cool because it does get a little old after a while, but it keeps your attention pretty well. Just like slashing people, so much fun, and they made it rated mature, so it's like Wolverine's actually fucking blood's flying out. You chop off limbs. You're cutting off people's arms and shit, and just it's a lot of fun, man, because they didn't do that stuff in the movies. And then Hugh Jackman actually provided his voice along with the other actors.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And the best part is it's not. I mean, I might be a little foggy on this. It's not totally going off the movie. Yeah, the basic story is kind of there, but they go well off the beaten path and they do other shit, and then you fight villains that aren't in the movie type of thing, and it's just kind of it's more or less its own thing, and it's starring Hugh Jackman, and then of course there is some really cool I want to say it's not DLC because, granted, this was the PS3, but this must have been like the last legs of this whole era because I don't remember buying a damn thing for this game, but you can actually unlock stuff, different costume packs, and there's like the X-Men cartoon 90s Wolverine costume with the mask.
Remember how like in the cartoon he always had those freaking claws, but whenever he'd actually fight somebody.
No. Because it was a cartoon. He couldn't actually attack somebody.
Yeah.
The only time he ever busted out his claws, and this is not even making a joke, was to fucking claw open doors and to open up cans of soda.
Yeah, like click.
Yeah, he'd open up one claw and pop the tab on a soda. Not even a beer. Wolverine drinks beer, but no, this is a kid's cartoon. And yeah, so whenever like villains would whatever attack or whatever, he would sit there and pull his claws out and get into defense mode and be like, "Let's go, bub," and say some one-liner. But when they actually charged him, his claws weren't in, and he'd like fucking just throw them, pick them up. Like, okay, so you're gonna do more than bark here? You're like, you just pull out your claws, you threaten
and it was so transparent why they were doing that, even as a kid.
No, I never got it. I never caught on ever.
I remember thinking that. I was like, well, why doesn't he do what Freddy Krueger does? Like, because it's a cartoon.
Why is he just talking up a big game and he never it did the trick. It's like he whipped them out enough to show that he had them, and that was cool enough. That was good enough to sell toys and good enough for us to emulate him on the parking lot at recess. But I never really thought too much about it. Like, why does he just stab Mr. Sinister in the face? None of it made sense.
Because then it'd be over.
And it'd be over, man. But yeah, so that's cool. You can unlock like the 90s cartoon, that era Wolverine, the blue and yellow costume, and this is Hugh Jackman wearing them. And then you can unlock the classic maroon yellow Wolverine. Did I say Scorpion?
Oh yeah, Scorpion.
Whatever. Yeah, you can fucking try a Scorpion too, whatever. But so it's really cool, all these things you can do, and it's Hugh Jackman. It's the likeness of Hugh Jackman, and it's cool because the costumes actually look like real cloth and like leather. It's really neat. So it's a fun game for what it is, if not a little bit stale after a while, but you know, it's better than movies. That's why I'm included as an honorable mention. What's your granddaddy, Zach? Granddaddy.
Well, the biggest one would probably be the Warriors one.
Oh, you started backwards.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, then if you don't have another one, do you have an honorable mention?
Like I remember playing so much of them as a kid. Like I remember always liking the Toy Story Super Nintendo game.
Oh, look out! Look out!
Like, yeah, where you're riding like Rex.
Yeah, the fucking RC car.
Yeah, you're fighting underneath the car with the fast food things and stuff.
That game looked awesome.
Dude, the RC car was the worst. Yeah. Like I always hate those controls. Like the Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit NES game had the same controls.
I remember when that game came out, I rented it on the Sega Genesis. I actually rented it twice, and I don't know why. That game looked better than it played.
Yeah,
it looked really neat, but
I never actually beat it until way later.
I remember the song from the first level because it just kind of like looped and looped and looped. I'll never forget it.
You're like throwing your drawstring to hit things and stuff.
And I just remember, like, at least on the Genesis version, the shitty audio of the voice.
Yeah, that was one thing the Genesis did. Horrible like voice. Didn't have as good. It was the music and the sound bites.
But it looked cool. But yeah, and then I played the Toy Story 2 game on the N64, and I think it was on the PlayStation as well. And you know, that was fun for like a minute. I don't know. The thing is omitting those games. Disney games were always great. Lion King, Aladdin, either the Super Nintendo or the Genesis version.
Yep, I remember Lion King.
The Little Mermaid's actually a good game on the NES.
Yeah.
All the Disney licensed games, they're like an exception, man. They were good. I thought it was too easy to mention those because too many people love Aladdin. I mean, those get talked about. Lion King was good, and yeah, Little Mermaid's good. DuckTales. I know that wasn't a movie, but you mentioned DuckTales, so I don't know. That wasn't a movie. That was kind of a cartoon. But whatever, Disney always had really, really quality titles, and Capcom made quite a few of them. You know, so, but I don't know.
Konami made the DuckTales game, didn't they?
That's a Capcom game, fool.
Oh, okay, was it?
Yeah. That was Capcom.
That recently got an HD remake too.
Yeah, it did. Did you play that?
Not yet. I want to. I actually heard that you can unlock the original game in it too. If I'm
you can?
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I heard.
I think that I don't know. I might have. I think I played it for a few minutes. I just think that.
Yeah, they added like a story, didn't they?
Yeah,
and they
I watched.
the voice cast back.
I'm guilty of watching a Let's Play of it, and there's too much fucking talking.
Yeah.
Like, all right, can we just get to the classic, simple gameplay here? But Disney games were great. There's a whole bunch of other ones. I mean, believe me, we could have did an episode of the worst ones, but that's just too big of a can of worms to open. Oh man, the
Superman 64. Game? Oh yes.
Oh.
You're like fighting dinosaurs or something.
God, I get it. They use it as an excuse that it was the TV set. You're at the TV station. You're like, okay, this was a local public access show we had. I don't think they were filming a Land of the Lost type show on that fucking set. It was public access. They were like maybe a news station or something. It didn't make any sense. But yeah, he's like going through Jurassic Park. And
I remember like he did it on Angry Video Game Nerd, and he was talking about how he doesn't know what's going on, and he goes, "I'd look in the instructions, but all that's in the instructions is a picture that says real men don't use instructions." I thought that was I thought that was just hilarious.
Good lord. Yeah, there's a million of bad ones, man. The NES had a ton. The Atari had a ton. The Nightmare on Elm Street game, the Friday the 13th game. Atari had the Halloween game, which I'd love to have a copy of that.
Oh yeah.
But it was shit. But there's just too many bad ones to name. I mean, if I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to tell you the worst one because I mean there's just so many bad ones. So that might be a 2-hour long podcast, which I don't want to do. But anyway, let us know for now what some of your favorites are. And then I think we will work on the whole bad list. That might be fun to talk about. But let us know. Go on btmreview.com, the YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe while you're there. Go on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. Subscribe to us and our many other righteous, bodacious, totally awesome podcasts on iTunes as well. And let us know what you think we omitted. What's an actual good film license game? And you know what? If you want to jump the gun a little bit and tell us what you think the fucking worst ones are, go ahead and do that too, because it'll actually give us good ideas. We might actually look at one like, oh yeah, I fucking forgot about that horrible piece of shit. Yeah, that's right. We have to talk about that, and we'll call you out and we'll reference it and all that great stuff. But until then, which now I can't wait. I'm Aaron.
I'm Zach,
and we'll catch you guys later next time. All right, later. Bye.